What's up, everyone? Welcome back for another episode of the Brinkcast. I'm Tyson Brinkworth. Thanks for joining us again for episode number 2. It was great to hear from all of you that checked out our first episode last week as we get this show off the ground. We had some great conversations about being a dad, a not-so-handy man, and an initial conversation surrounding some news and notes across the sports world. We took a quick trip down memory lane as we reminisced about watching Wayne Gretzky and Alexander Ovechkin as Ovi chases down the Great One's all-time NHL goals record. This week, we have a great episode for you. It's titled Attitude is Your Altitude. We're going to discuss stories of resilience, how attitude impacts performance in work and professional life, in sports and teamwork, and parenting and family life. And of course, we'll share some laughs along the way. All right, let's get into it. Dad, what is going on? Winter has officially arrived.
Yes, it has. I just drove back from Moose Jaw tonight from a big hockey game in the
Jaw,
tourney.
Saskatchewan.
The MJ, exactly. Yeah, 100%. Been there many times. We saw the Moose.
That's awesome, yeah.
Coop saw the Moose when we left town.
Absolutely. So a little hockey tournament action going on this weekend.
Yeah. Game 1, they played the Martinsville Snipers, tied 7-7. It was a good game.
Yeah. If anyone's listening not from Saskatchewan, they get a kick out of all these names. It's kind of sounds like make-believe land if you're not from here. Honestly, some of these towns and cities we got. So
down the road, we'll get into that in an episode about the prairies.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it. Yeah. But that was the excitement today. That was my big event today. Was doing that, and also you can see across the room we had a walking pad delivered, a treadmill.
Oh, nice.
I know.
It's getting a little dicey to be walking out there. We got dumped on pretty hard this week with snow, and roads and sidewalks are not in great shape currently, and I think it's only about to get worse. But that's what happens here in November in the prairies.
Yeah, we shovel. I bought a new shovel yesterday, actually, too. And a new scraper for my for the truck.
You know what? I am
big event.
Super excited. My father-in-law hunted down a snowblower for us.
What?
And fired it up yesterday. Made sure it was all good to go, and started right up. And we got about 25 centimeters of snow on the way tomorrow. So Sunday morning, I'm gonna have that puppy humming. My neighbors are gonna love it.
Yes. What was the Simpsons episode? Homer was the plow.
Mr. Plow?
Mr. Plow.
Yeah,
You could be Mr. Plow.
Hey,
I love it.
Sign me up.
I love it. I've never had a snowblower. When I was a kid, my dad had a little one. But yeah, I just shovel.
Yeah.
I think my wife worries. Laura worries all the time about me having a heart attack when I'm shoveling. But I still feel pretty good.
I honestly feel a little bit soft having one because I've never had one, and I kind of would always go out there and just grind it out. But yeah, this new place we moved into last fall, the sidewalk is massive, and I hear as a homeowner you're responsible for that sidewalk. So
wraps around. That's
I've done it quite a few times last winter, and I did it once already this winter when we got that initial dumping, and it's a good 90 minutes out there scraping off all the sidewalks and the driveways front and back. So I think this will save some time and maybe give me a little more time with the baby inside.
There you go. That's good.
Yeah, I'm fired up, man.
That's very good. I haven't used the new shovel yet. I'll use it. I'm sure I'll use it tomorrow.
Oh yeah, you'll get your money's worth this weekend, I think.
I think so.
But the walking pad, hey, that's a little treadmill. That's awesome. I was out this morning actually for my morning walk with the dogs, and there was a couple times I was pretty close to taking a couple spills. So I don't know. I might have to maybe invest in one of those. I don't know if I could get the dogs on that though. So maybe
that'd be a task. I want to see a video.
I might just have to invest in some cleats or some nice Sorel winter boots or something like that.
Right. Well, so I've never had a treadmill ever. And when I was younger, when you were born, actually, We had an exercise bike. I had bought one.
White bike.
The old white one. And I used that thing.
Memory.
I used it like crazy.
Yeah.
Actually, at one point in my life, the heaviest I ever was 216 pounds just after you were born.
Yeah.
And just dad weight, but it was a lot of weight, and it really kind of ate me up. And I went on a tirade, and I ended up getting down to 177.
Oh.
I know, it was crazy, and I was like writing down everything I was eating. I became obsessed. It was like it wasn't it got unhealthy. It got so unhealthy. I would go to the stores just to try on pants to see how small the pants could be. Like I was up almost at a 38. And I would go try them on. And I remember the day I tried on some jeans and I put on a 32 and they kind of fit me. And I felt like I had won the Olympics.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. But it wasn't healthy. I wasn't healthy at that weight.
I didn't realize that. I think I was like,
you were little.
I was probably 176 in grade 5.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I was always the kid in school at football tryouts that had to wear the plastic bags around to make weight.
Yeah.
I was always that kid.
I mean, that's funny because, obviously we have the same body type. I'm feeling a little bit like that right now just because it's with the new baby and stuff, it's difficult to kind of get out and be as active as I once was, but
you walk the dog like you're a champ for walking the dogs. So
yeah,
good.
we like our walks. We like our walks for sure. They're not as long these days just because there's other priorities at home. But yeah, we still get out, and it's just part of life, I guess. You gotta keep moving, and playing hockey once a week. Usually, I play 2 or 3 times a week, and this year it's once a week, Friday at noon, and loving that. So yeah, I mean, any way you can to stay active. The biggest thing for me is finding something that, like hockey, like you kind of, it doesn't feel like you're working out per se. You're just out there chasing the puck around. It's a nice, mental vacation, and you kind of just burn some energy and take some aggression out, maybe score a couple goals, and
there you go.
Feel great afterwards. So yeah, man, it's important.
I know. It's and for you, at your age, you realize that now having a little one. But at my age, I'm 55, and you have to like look out for those things, and you have to go for checkups, and you have to make sure you stay on top of this stuff. And so I'm vowing with the treadmill, with the walking pad, we're going to set this up, and I'm vowing it's not going to become like just a laundry hanger. I promise. No. I promise it won't. I've seen that. I've heard horror stories about. Well, I've been to people's houses and have seen it as a laundry hanger, and I'm actually going to use it. And I know a lot of times, like Monday to Wednesday, I teach, and those days I'm sitting for like 8 hours, like in a row, playing drums. And at the end of the night, a lot of times I wish I could go for a walk, but I get home at like 11:30, and it's kind of tricky. So I think this could be perfect just to come home downstairs and add some more steps in. Maybe listen to podcast or something and unwind, but at least be moving and moving my body, which I think is really, really important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's something that's kind of hit me pretty hard, being now responsible for a child, and I obviously thought of health before this, but now it's like, taking care of yourself is such an important thing, because if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not going to be able to take care of anyone else. So it's super important as new parents. I know it's tough, especially for moms. I know it's a long road and everything, and it might not be exercise. It might just be making sure that your mental health is okay. But it's super important, because especially with children, they're relying on you for so much, and it can be a stressful time and a hard time, but just make sure you're taking care of yourself. And that's something that I've learned a lot in the last year, leading up to the birth of our baby girl, and now going forward, just making sure you dedicate at least 45 minutes to an hour a day doing something active, and it's super beneficial for the mind. So
absolutely. Well, I know playing music, like that I do, playing drums, it's mental and physical, and I realize what a blessing that is to have done that for so long, and it does help those things. It keeps the brain cells moving and the body moving a little bit to do that, which is important. But I'm hoping I can, continue on and push forward with this, because I know every day's kind of tricky. Everybody can't get out all the time to walk or do whatever. But if you can move a little bit, man, makes a big difference.
Yeah, no, absolutely it does.
So speaking of your baby,
yes,
how is that little girl doing?
She's doing awesome. Yeah,
I miss her.
She's doing awesome. Yeah, I know, everyone does. I miss her too. Not there right now. But,
you've been away for an hour, and it's like, I know that you're such a good dad.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, and I know growing up or being a parent in this generation, it's a little different, because like the wife will send me videos and pictures all day long, and it's the best part of my day. And when I don't get one, I'm like, what's going on? Like, what's she up to? Like, come on.
Is she driving yet? Maybe she's driving.
Yeah, what am I missing out on? Or is she talking? Is she writing a book? Or what's she doing? But yeah, no, it's been great. She had a checkup today. Everything's going awesome. Such a blessing to this point. So yeah, it's a fun time. She's laughing. Obviously, I mentioned last week, she's doing a ton of stuff. Rolling. She started rolling, and doesn't do it all the time, but she's getting there, and you can tell that she wants to get moving, and it's awesome getting down on the floor and playing with her and everything.
Yeah.
So
well, we'll get her over on the treadmill soon.
Yeah.
We'll get her doing some laps.
Yeah, it won't be too long. Like
I'll take her for a walk. I'll just hold her and I'll take her for a walk.
Yeah, there you go.
Put something on the TV. It'll
I
be
think
like we're
we might
outside.
actually be getting a little sled we can pull her around in. We had been taking her for walks in the stroller, obviously,
Right.
but with the snow, that's
sled.
not gonna.
I didn't even realize.
Yeah.
I remember you guys.
Yeah.
You and Jayla as little kids and pulling you around in the sled.
Yeah.
You couldn't even move. You were so bundled up. You'd just be like,
oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
But you weren't frozen.
No,
and we thought it was fun.
Yeah, it is.
You guys might have been like, this is the worst.
It
ever.
really is. No, she'll love it, and the more stuff we can do with her, the better. Obviously, I find myself, I catch myself all the time now, thinking about these, the upcoming milestones, and I can't wait till she can crawl, or I can't wait till she can walk, and I can't wait till she can play. What are we gonna do? Like, what's she gonna be like? What are the activities we're gonna do? But I gotta just remind myself, and I say this to Jess all the time, and we try and keep each other grounded on this. Like, let's just enjoy this, because we already find ourselves like realizing how fast she's growing, and it's like, wow. Like, I remember when I could just hold you, you would fall asleep anywhere. We would just, it was awesome. And now it's like she's getting a, pretty regimented schedule with nap time and obviously going to sleep and all of that. So yeah, just trying to take it all in, enjoy it all, even the tough time. She's going through a bit of sleep regression right now, as they do at this age. So the nighttime is a tricky one. The wife and I try and carve out a little bit of time together after she goes to bed, but sometimes that doesn't end up happening till 11:30, depending how many times she wakes up. So
right. You got to slow the game down.
It's tricky.
Slow the game down. And I know, being the older one of us, it goes fast.
Yeah, it does. I mean, everyone says that, and I was fully expecting that, but you don't know all these things until you actually experience.
Well, of course, exactly. And staying in the moment is so important in everything, like so many things in life, just every day, like actually enjoying what's going on. But yeah, you're right. You could look ahead and want, what about that? And when we do that, and it's like, well, but today is, we're really,
let's
really
just enjoy today.
Exactly. Exactly. Just
but I mean, like you said, that's kind of a good lesson that everyone kind of needs to take a step back, and I think it was the great Ferris Bueller that said life moves pretty fast. You don't stop. What was it? If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you might miss it. So
yeah, exactly. The great Ferris Bueller. Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
that's a great movie.
Yes.
I love that.
I remember
movie.
watching that on VHS. I think you and Mom had that on VHS.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it for the first time, and I seen that
a classic.
what was it? Cameron with
Yes.
the Gordie Howe jersey.
Gordie Howe jersey. Yes.
Yeah. As soon as I saw that, I'm like,
Did you see? Speaking of that, did you see Bedard's picture? Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, recreated it.
That was so awesome. Actually, that's funny. But the first time I ever saw that movie, now we're kind of getting sidetracked here, but the first time I ever saw that movie was with some friends in town. We went to the theater, and one of my friends, Pete Curlis, his cousin was here from Chicago. And we went to see the show, and he didn't realize it was filmed in Chicago.
Okay.
His cousin. So we're sitting watching the show, and something happened in the show, and his cousin said, "Hey, that's a block from my house." And we were like, "Yeah, right, whatever." And then it turned out like some of the stuff was filmed like kind of by his place, and you had no idea it was there.
Oh wow, yeah, that's wild. Yeah, what a movie though. I got to go back and watch that one night.
It's so great.
That one's a core memory for me. I don't know. That's kind of one of the first like non-kid shows I'd say that I remember watching. So
wow,
I don't know how we got on Ferris Bueller, but anyways, great lesson.
Well, it's slowing down.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I learned something from that movie, and I'm applying it at 31 now. So
that's exactly right.
Yeah,
and the Gordie Howe jersey.
Shout out Matthew Broderick. What a guy.
What a guy. That's exactly right. Well, that's good. So the treadmill, we're going to use that and not hang our clothes on it. So what else has been going on this week? What have you been doing?
Yeah, so I don't want to turn this into a like Brinkworth bloopers, show, whatever, but as we've stated, last week, not the handiest guys, in the world. I know my grandpa, your dad,
on the block.
Both of my grandpas actually would probably shake their head at me.
At both of us.
At both of us. Yeah, truly.
But we try.
I mean, you try. This week we did have an issue at the Brinkworth residence refrigerator. Just decided it wasn't gonna work. So no cooling in the refrigerator anymore. Freezer still works, but refrigerator decided to shut it down, and not quite sure why. So that was interesting. I think that was on Sunday we realized that. So it was grabbing, and thankfully we have a fridge downstairs. So grabbed everything, unloaded it, whatever, took it downstairs. Jess is like looking at me like, well, what's wrong with it? Well, I mean, of course I know what's wrong with it. Like, let me just get out my tools here. No, but a quick Google search gave me some ideas what to try, and started taking her apart a little bit and gave it a good clean. Apparently you're supposed to do that, especially if you have pets. So
filters.
Sure enough, we had probably 13 pounds of dog hair under that thing, and we've only been living there for, I'm exaggerating, it wasn't that much, but it was gross. So we cleaned that all out, and it gave her the old unplug, plug her back in, tried a few other things, wasn't working. So then I had to dig through our receipts and find out when we purchased this thing and see if we had warranty, because it wasn't too long ago, because we moved in last November we started living there after renos and stuff. But so anyways, found out it's under warranty. Perfect. Ooh. Let's go. That's a win. Let's call up Whirlpool and see what they could do for us. So did that and sent a guy out, and he wasn't able to fix it either. So that made me feel a little better about myself.
And he's qualified.
He's qualified. It's what he does for a living. So I don't know.
Man.
Anyways, we're still out of refrigerator. There's a part that needs to be ordered, a special part, I'm told, and they're going to send a special technician out next week.
Whoa.
And they're going to get it fixed up, and we're going to have a fridge back in action. But right now, we grabbed the beer fridge from out in the garage, and we put that thing in the kitchen, and it's not aesthetically pleasing at all, but she's sitting underneath the island, and we keep our essentials in there, and everything else is in the basement.
Wow. So it's like you're at a hotel in the little fridge at the hotel.
Yeah,
that's kind of fun. It's kind of like being on a holiday.
Yeah.
So you're fridgeless in Regina.
Yeah.
Not sleepless in Seattle's fridgeless in Regina.
Fridgeless in Regina.
That's okay though. Yeah. That's wow. So they're gonna fix it under warranty. That's really good.
Yeah, I
good
mean
job
that's
on the receipts.
That's lucky.
That might have been the best.
Well, I should clarify. We bought it online, so it wasn't too hard.
Okay.
Quick search in the inbox.
Okay, we didn't have to
And,
tell me that. You could have just said
Well,
pile of
transparent.
papers. Well, no, that's pretty good though.
I
That's
know
good.
you keep all your receipts. I
That's
don't
good.
know how
Well,
you do that or why you do that.
Default.
But,
Yeah. When you're self-employed, you know.
I guess
you keep everything. I keep everything.
Yeah, no.
everything. That's
Anyways,
good.
that's what's going
awesome.
on. So that's not too exciting, but
No.
yeah.
No,
Be
well,
nice
not
to
as
get
exciting
going
as
for
the hot tub. You know, you didn't have to stand there with a finger.
Yeah, I didn't have to stick any fingers in any holes.
Exactly.
This week,
But
so.
you know, maybe next week we'll have something like that.
Yeah,
Oh, well.
it's kind of it's kind of a coincidence that happened back to back like that. But yeah, you know, we pushed through.
Good job. Good job on the fridge.
Yeah, that's
Way
right.
to go.
What about you? Any appliances go down at your place?
No,
or?
no
all
appliances. No fixing of. I'm just trying to think if we fixed anything this week. No, thankfully, fingers crossed. There was nothing that went out of order other than myself. No, just I've been playing lots. I've been had lots of gigs and stuff, which is great. It's lots of fun traveling. Last week went out to Mossbank. Do you know where Mossbank is?
No, that's another great name.
South of Moose Jaw. We played a fundraiser down there for a new ice. What did they call it? It's for the rink.
Ice arena.
Well, no, just the like an ice plant.
Oh, yes.
An ice plant for the rink, and they raised lots of money. They raised a ton of money for this thing, which is great. The small towns, like, they're magical for these things. A lot of people show up and they feed them, and yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah. So
awesome.
just so our listeners are aware, when you say you're playing, you're not like playing video games.
No, I play drums. I play drums.
Okay.
We're gonna have an episode where we introduce ourselves and talk about what we do for a living. But I make my living playing drums, which is a wacky way to make a living. Swinging around some wood and hitting plastic and metal. But that's what I do.
Yeah, no, it's
Fooling
good.
the system.
No, that's good. I just wanted to give a little bit of context so
Absolutely.
listeners didn't get the wrong idea. And
No.
it's not a wacky way to make a living at all. I think it's great. I've always admired that you've had such a cool job and you've carved out such a great career for yourself. And I know you don't want to talk about yourself too much here, but yeah. Anyways,
We will. You'll be able. If there's anybody that could make me do it, I think you can.
Yeah.
You'll make me step up. But I did watch some hockey this week. Did you watch hockey this week?
I did. Yeah.
I was watching the other night. I was watching and listening to some of the Canucks game.
Yeah.
It was the Canucks and was it the Rangers?
Rangers, yeah.
The Rangers, yeah, the Rangers game, yeah. Which ended in a loss. Was it a 4-3?
4-3.
4-3 loss. But there was some interesting stories out of that game.
Yeah. No, there sure was. And yeah, the Canucks, I think, went back-to-back losses. Not great, but that's all right. Early in the season, it's going to happen for sure.
True story. True story. Did
yeah,
you watch some stuff?
Yeah, I did. Obviously, following the Canucks. That's our squad. If anyone doesn't know yet, they're off to not quite as hot of a start as last season, and it seems like Canuck land is a little concerned with that. But I mean, they're still doing all right. They're right in the mix, and they're carrying over what Talkett built there last year. The culture seems still intact, and they're playing structured hockey. So I don't think there's anything to be too concerned about. Going back to the storylines of that game, actually, yeah. So Connor Garland, I think he's tied for goals on the Canucks right now too. I could be wrong, but yeah, he's had a great start to the year. Feisty little player, not the biggest guy by any means, but he's an absolute bulldog.
I love the way those guys play.
Yeah, me
That's
too.
my favorite type of player.
Yeah, no, me too. So he suited up on Tuesday night, and him and his wife were expecting a baby. So they were on baby watch this whole week, I guess. And especially, Monday night, it looked like things were progressing fairly quickly, and it might happen or whatever.
Sounds like you have some experience in this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I wasn't suiting up for the Canucks or anything like that, but yeah, what a crazy. I can't imagine, what he was thinking, kind of leading up to that game. I know he mentioned, or Talkett mentioned, he didn't get much sleep, and yeah, I know when we were expecting, there was a lot of trips to the hospital and then sent home, and just kind of waiting around and making sure wife was okay and as okay as she could be, obviously going through a lot. and being as supportive as possible. But so Garland suited up. He must have probably had, if I can guess, maybe 4 hours of sleep total. He ended up scoring a goal in the game, scored the Canucks' third goal. And then they had their baby the next day.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good timing. But I can't imagine going to a hockey game and then you're like, okay, am I going to get pulled from this game? Is anyone going to give me updates? Like, what's the plan here?
I had no idea. I was listening to the game, I had no idea that was all going on. I knew his wife was expecting, but I didn't realize it was like right at that moment.
Yeah.
Until the next morning I read, and there was a tweet. Rick Tocchet had tweeted out. He said he's probably going to have a baby here soon. Was up at 3 a.m, was up again at 7, no sleep, and he was our best player. What can you say? You love the kid.
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing.
Yeah. No, that just speaks volumes about the kind of player he is, and obviously good husband, I would imagine, as well.
Oh, man. He's going to be an amazing dad.
But yeah, I mean, that's I don't know if that's a kind of a backhanded shot to the team. Like, this guy is running on no sleep. He's our best player. What's going on, boys? Let's figure it out here.
Well, we're going to find out in this next game. And then he said, Connor Garland with no sleep. He had 1 goal and 20 minutes of ice time.
That's.
And then I think he left the game and they went right to the hospital. Went back to the hospital after the game. And then she had the baby the next day.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's great.
And everybody
timing.
was good. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. More of a reason to cheer for that guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I love those stories like that where you kind of get a glimpse into guy's personal life a little bit. And
well, it seems so real, right? Like something that's so unattainable, like being in the NHL just seems so like unbelievable. And then you hear that and go, they're normal guys.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like with athletes especially, and celebrities or musicians or whoever it is, someone in the public arena doing their thing. As consumers, as fans, we kind of, dehumanize them a little bit, I would say, because, they're, our heroes are our idols. We have so much invested into their performance and everything like that. But yeah, a story like that just kind of brings it back down, and you realize that these guys are humans just like you and I, and go through, normal everyday things, and they're, fathers and husbands and brothers. And it kind of leads into another thing. JT Miller of the Canucks as well. He is taking an indefinite leave of absence for personal reasons. And I think the Canucks cited just a rest and recovery period to kind of get some personal things sorted out. And I think that's something that, we can all relate to, especially in today's climate. Being a public figure like JT Miller is, and being, the superstar hockey player that he is, obviously draws a lot of attention. And it's pretty sad that it gets to the point where, there's speculation on all this, and right away it's like, going to the worst case possible of why this guy's leaving the team. And, I don't know if it'll ever come out, the real reason, but the bottom line is something's going on. He's got to take care of it. He's taking time away from work to do it. And that's really all there is to it. And I think we noted at the beginning of this episode, like, mental health is such a important thing. And we've come so far in understanding that, and understanding, if your mind's not right, you're not right. So when your mind's not right, you got to get it right somehow. And if that means, stepping away from work, and getting the help you need, then by all means do that. And it's no surprise, obviously, the Canucks have rallied behind him during this time, like any good employer would. Just another note, not quite as uplifting, I would say, but it's a real story, and it's happening. And all the best to JT, and can't wait to see him back out there playing for the Canucks. Yeah.
When I had heard that, and obviously over the years, like, I know when I was a kid, you would never hear of that. That would never, like, it just wasn't even like a thing. No one would leave, or else it would be covered up or anything. But there was no like talk of that. Mm-hmm. It just seemed like everybody was invincible.
Yeah.
Which nobody's invincible.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like that. And then, years later, you realize that that's not the case. And now it's so nice to see, again, at my age, to see everybody letting their guard down a bit on it, and actually, like, admitting, look, I'm not good today. It's not, and because everybody has that, it's important, and you have to deal with it because, the consequences, we've seen examples of it where it's not good. And it's like, well, maybe, the pressure, anything just in everyday life can get to people in different ways. Everybody's wired differently, right?
Yeah.
And on that same story, I with all the stuff going on with the Canucks, I had been watching that the team got a new dog.
Okay. Yeah.
Their new dog, Eddie. So they got a new dog, Eddie. And it made me think of their last dog that they had, which was Rip.
Okay, yeah.
Which was named after Rick Rippon.
That's right.
And Rick Rippon was a player that we got to watch on the Regina Pats.
Former Regina Pats.
Exactly. Yeah. And he played for the Canucks, and he was also a gritty guy.
Oh, yeah.
And Rick Rippon had his demons, and unfortunately, he passed, I can't remember how many years ago now. But what a memory, and what an impact that guy made on mental health. Like, he really stood up for that, and I think the team, the way they're dealing, with JT Miller, if that's what it is, or any team, I think that really brought it to light was the Rick Rippon situation and other stuff too. There's other players that were more outspoken about it and stuff, but that just sort of twisted around with this new dog Eddie, which is super cute, and Rip was super cute, the other dog they had. But it just made me think of the times going to watch Rick Rippon play, and
Rick Rippon, what a legacy he
left.
left.
No kidding, eh?
I remember watching him, obviously with the Pats, captain of the Pats, kind of growing up. I think I was probably in grade 6 to 8 when he played, I want to say. I don't know for sure, but I remember, incredible player, incredibly tough, obviously.
Oh, he was a beast.
And just relentless. And obviously, as a kid watching him, you idolize a guy like that, and you have no idea. Well, you have no idea about the stresses of life, and you have no idea what he's dealing with maybe at that time or when he got into his professional career. But yeah, one of my all-time favorite Regina Pats, one of my all-time favorite Canucks, even though he didn't play a lot of games for them.
Right.
Loved by all of his teammates, and again, what a legacy he left behind, and him and so many others that began the conversation of surrounding mental health has been great for obviously the NHL and sports as a whole. There's countless other guys that are now comfortable expressing themselves and knowing that if they don't deal with it, things can turn out a whole lot worse, and they can go down a path that isn't great. So sports is such a cool thing because it brings so many people together. It gives us an escape from our realities as fans, and it also shines light on issues like this. And it's important as consumers and fans to realize that these guys are, although they seem superhuman, they're certainly not. And we're a lot more alike than we think we are.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. Well, and the other thing, just one last thing on this is it's great, the initiative with minor hockey. Like, I know Coop's age, they have to attend like mental health days, and they actually are part of these programs that they it's mandatory to go be part of these classes and stuff. So it just opens it up that at 12 years old that you can start learning about this and going, oh, okay. Like, I wish I had that when I was 12. Like, that would have been, I'm sure at first frowned on, people would have wondered why, but man, just the awareness of that. Like, obviously, as at any age, you can become more aware of anything else because you only know yourself, and everybody around you could have their own problems and stories going on. And the more open you are to that, the more sort of empathy you have, and you can put yourself in their shoes and maybe understand where they're coming from, and just all that. You're never too old to sort of learn that. You start learning that when you get older, actually.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's a lot of maturity, and I think it's a lot of kind of how society has developed. And unfortunately, it always takes, a lot of negative things to happen to implement change. But I'm glad that it is. And, in my professional life, I work for Sport Medicine and Science Council of Saskatchewan. And right now we're working on updating our mental health strategy for athletes in the province. And it's super interesting because I get to work with a lot of mental performance consultants, mental performance coaches in the province, and they have such vast knowledge and vast experience with all of this, and they bring a lot of expertise to the table on how to deal with mental health, and they call it mental fitness. It's no different than working on your physical fitness. It's training your mind and not only for sports, but to overcome adversities and in other aspects of your life too. So like you said, it's as you get older, you start to appreciate it a lot more. And I'm glad that those resources are available to younger athletes and younger people. And truthfully, it's something that I definitely dealt with growing up, and I never kind of understood what it was until becoming an adult and eventually, getting some help. And it's been made a world of a difference and just improved my quality of life. So I'm glad that it's definitely at the forefront of everyone's minds now in kind of many aspects of life. Yeah,
that's great. And just what you do for a living. Like, again, we're going to do another episode where we do talk a little bit about ourselves, but that's super, super important. Like what you do and what you're, giving back. Like, that's amazing that sports has taken you in that direction to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's astounding.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to get into too much about myself here,
No.
But yeah, it's super rewarding and mostly just working with athletes, whether it's high performance or grassroots athletes, kind of seeing all different levels and athletes in all different stages of their lives and helping them to develop as people and of course athletes too. But yeah, so sport, amazing thing. Obviously a huge part of my life, and there's probably people listening that aren't involved in sports or aren't a fan, and that's okay too. It's just
we'll bring them in on the music discussions we're going to have coming up.
Yeah. Hopefully,
we'll get them on all the angles.
Yeah. So that was a couple quick notes there from the Canucks side of things. I guess it wasn't quick. We kind of got into it there, but I'm glad we did.
But it's important though. These conversations are super, super important, and these are things that even sitting here and hearing you talk, like we've never talked about this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've known you obviously forever.
Yeah.
And we've never actually sat down and had this conversation, which I'm feeling like, not super emotional about it, but it's really great. Like, it's just nice hearing you say this. And, I hope a lot of dads can talk to their kids about this, and moms and just everybody. It's
and I know thing. Like as a kid, it was always kind of a struggle for me to, for whatever reason, express myself in some of those ways. But, that's kind of just, I don't know what it was. It's just part of life. And,
I think you get that from me.
And and I mean, obviously you growing up back then, I can't imagine what the climate was like back then, where it was like, you don't talk about that. You don't,
you don't like show weakness.
Yeah. And it's not,
which is kind of, it's not weakness.
No,
it's actually like strength. It's because you come out the other side better.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah. So. I mean, it's all about maturity is the biggest thing, I think, because even, 10 years ago, I would say that I was still thinking that I could push through just about anything. And what would my grandparents think, or, what did they go through?
Yeah.
Well, it was a hell of a lot worse than whatever I'm going through. So I thought, right? But we're all fighting something, whether it's, just stuff going on in your personal life or in your mind, whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, super important to seek help. And it can be as simple as, calling up a friend or a family member and just discussing it. I know I had those conversations with my wife, and she had, she encouraged me to get help. And so it's all good. It's nice to obviously have a support system like that. So we kind of got off the rails there a little bit.
No.
It's a good conversation to have, I think.
Absolutely, I agree, 100%. Health, physical, above the neck and below the neck. If you look back after both things, it's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Just another couple of notes here that I thought we should chat about. Obviously, last week we kind of dove into our memories of watching your memories watching Gretzky, my memories watching Ovechkin, as Ovechkin's chasing down this incredible record set by Gretzky and no one thought was going to be broken ever. So this last couple of weeks, Ovi had himself quite a week, actually. He scored 5 goals in a 2-game span, including a hat trick against the Golden Knights last week. And he became one of only 3 players in NHL history to score in his first game against 18 different franchises, which is crazy. So he's just lighting over half the league up in his first game against them, which speaks to his incredible talent. He's just to add to his accolades, he's now just 3-game winning goals away from tying Jaromir Jagr's NHL record.
That's crazy.
He did have a bit of a speed bump. It looks like Ovi Watch is going to be put on pause here. He left a recent game with a leg injury, and unfortunately, he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks with a broken fibula. So he came out absolutely flaming out of the gates. I think it's one of his best starts to his season he's ever had, which is incredible because he's had such a long career. But hopefully he can deal with this leg injury and get back. And he got out to such a good start. I don't think it's out of question that he's going to get that record this season, but we'll have to wait and see how he looks when he gets back. I mean, a broken fibula at 39 years old, that's got to be a tough one to come back from, but he's an absolute machine, and I have full faith he's going to, and I can't wait to see him break that record. It's going to be an absolute spectacle, and again, a historic event in National Hockey League history.
Totally. And at 39, like the physical shape that guy's in, like that's just crazy.
Yeah.
That's astounding. That'll be amazing to see that.
Yeah. So Ovi Watch currently on pause. We'll have to wait until, after Christmas into the new year, it looks like, for him to get back to things, and hopefully he keeps up his rampant pace.
Yeah.
Another guy, we briefly chatted about last week, Sidney Crosby.
Yeah. What's up with him?
So he is 1 goal shy of 600 goals. And you know what that 600 goal milestone would do? That would make him only the 2nd active player to reach that number. Do you know who he would be alongside with there?
Playing right now?
Yeah.
Well, it's got to be Ovechkin, no?
It's got to be Ovechkin. That's right.
Yeah.
So Sid's 1 goal shy of 600, and that's a milestone that would make him the 2nd only active player to reach that number.
And last episode, you said you remember watching them in what year?
I think it was 2005 when they broke in.
Holy man.
So, incredible.
Like if someone had said in 2005, in 2024, these guys are both going to have 600 goals, Ovechkin's going to be on the verge of like breaking all these records, no one would have believed that. No one would have believed they're still playing.
No, it's incredible. And
wow.
I was actually hoping, when I was kind of poking around at looking at what had happened this week, I was hoping that Sid was going to get that number tonight. They played Winnipeg, but he didn't score. He did everything he could. He's kind of a one-man show on that team right now. He's scoring, and he's carrying that team, and he's even fighting. He got into a fight tonight, which is not
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty rare for Sid to drop the mitts, but it's good to see. I mean, that guy.
Someone probably took his Tim's coffee.
Yeah, maybe
his Zamboni stalled in the drive-thru.
Someone stole his hockey cards, maybe.
That's true.
But I mean, he's got such a fire, and it's been so great watching him. He's again another machine, and you hear stories about his work ethic and his passion for the game, and again I think he's 38, and he's still going and still trying to drag his team into the fight despite being a not so great roster. So, I think Sid is going to retire a Penguin, but there are rumblings he may get traded, and that would absolutely break the internet if he did get traded ever. But
can you imagine?
Looking forward to Sid getting his 600th. I'm sure it'll be a
nice
one
this weekend. Yeah, I'm guessing. Yeah, hopefully it is. Hopefully it's not like an empty netter or.
Yeah, Sid's he's kind of a glorified grinder in a way. Yeah. He plays that hard style, and he's always in front of the net, and he takes so much abuse, but he also gives it, and he's such a thick body out there. Thick, 3 C's. Yeah. Sid's got those tree trunk legs. He does it all for that team, and again, what a treat that we got to watch him play for as long as he
Oh
has.
my goodness, that's unbelievable. Again, your childhood memories, right?
Yeah, and you know, he's one of those guys that you can put him up there with like the Michael Jordans and the Kobe Bryants and, you know, Tiger Woods. And I think all those guys share like a common trait, and it's their, well, a couple common traits, I would say, but the biggest thing is their, you know, their attitude, the way they approach their work, and the way that they, you know, kind of drag everyone else into the fight just by working their absolute tails off and providing such great leadership. And I think that's such a key for anyone, you know, looking to be the best at their craft, and whether that's, you know, sports or music or, you know, professional life, you know, bringing your best attitude and a positive attitude to any situation goes such a long way. And there's no better example of Sidney Crosby in the NHL doing that at 38 years old.
Yeah. Well, any of those guys, anybody that succeeds at anything and moves forward like that, it gets to a certain point where the skill level, everybody can play. That's a given. Everybody can play. But what gets them past that, and it always is, attitude. That's what it is, right? I remember years ago, I was writing drum articles online for a drum magazine called The Black Page. A friend of mine, Sean Mitchell, lives in Victoria, BC, had asked me to start contributing, and I started and then wrote monthly articles for 4 years, 5 years. So it was something like that. It was quite a while, but we wrote one article, and it was basically called, as we said in the intro, it was "Attitude is your altitude," which I thought was a great expression. Yeah. And it makes sense because, you know, again, skill can get you so far, but there's certain things that push certain people past that. And I remember when I wrote the article, I was just reflecting on when I was a younger musician, and in sports too. This happened in sports too, but as a younger musician, I had a lot of opportunities to play with older players, really good players. And I could never understand why these opportunities came up. And it just always baffled me. I always was just astounded because there was other players around that played way better than I played. And I knew that, and, you know, but I was getting these opportunities, and I could never figure it out until one day, one of these players, the older players, I was 18 and they were in their 30s. I had asked the question. I said, I don't understand why I'm in this band. I don't get it. And he had pointed out that, you know, obviously I could play, obviously I could do the job, but they really loved that I showed up and really wanted to be there. I would go the extra mile. I would learn extra stuff. I would contribute in any way needed. I would always be on time. I would always, you know, stay afterwards and help with stuff. I would always, you know, and it just, to that, for me, that seemed normal. That just seemed like what you do. But that sort of attitude of that way really, you know, kind of was the ticket on that. And I never forgot that. And it just seemed, that's just normal to do that. And all these gigs, like I know, you know, playing my current gig that I've had for the last 16 years, one of them is with Aaron Pritchett, a singer from Vancouver, the Hold My Beer guy. And I got the gig based on a recommendation from a friend. But anybody can get a gig. It's keeping the gig that's the trick. And again, that's attitude. Like the whole band lives in Vancouver. And there's so many drummers in Vancouver that are so great. But they keep me around because I'm funny. That's not true. Wow. But it's my attitude. Like it's just that the work ethic of going above and beyond, of, you know, just, you know, there's nothing that, you know, rattles you. You're positive. You know, all these things that come into play can really, really have a huge effect on your, you know, your opportunities you're given. You experience in life, right? And that was just one of the stories. There's been many, you know, and again, like you said, in family and sports and things, where every day, you know, some days can be a struggle, but if you can get through with a smile on your face and kind of pull everybody through, you know, that can be humongous. And that's just an attitude. It's a work ethic. It's a, you know, I credit a lot of that. I credit to my mom and dad, and other family members, but for sure my mom and dad, for just teaching me that, you know, you always do your best, and at the end of the day, if you can't say you've done your best, you haven't failed, but you've kind of let yourself down and others. And I've always sort of bought into that and went, you know what, my attitude can really determine a lot of things, but it's never forced for me.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, it certainly helps when you're doing something that you're so passionate about, and
Right.
and anybody who knows you can see that from talking to you for less than 5 minutes, and it's something that you've ingrained in me, and I've always admired about you, and I've always thought of you as such a hard worker, kind of willing to do anything. And the one thing I've noticed is it seems like you're always willing to learn, and I can being part of many teams growing up, it's always you always want to kind of be in the fight with someone who is always willing to learn, to improve themselves, and I see that a lot in what you do in your professional life and your career. And yeah, that's great insight for anyone. It's funny because there's so many things, like in any career or any situation, that you can't control, but the one thing that you're always in control of, for the most part, is your attitude, right?
Yep.
So attitude is a choice, and it's you're definitely always not in control of the situation, but you can always control how you respond and how you work at it. And I mean, that's great insight from a musician standpoint.
Absolutely. Yeah, no. And it's just something that, I remember reading the article back, and and I actually was thinking, I wrote that. I can't believe I wrote that, but it was just personal experience, and everybody out there. Like, I see it with kids, like I've seen it with you guys and your friends, and I've seen it, with Coop and his friends, and just my students that I teach. And I just really see that certain people have just a way of dealing with other people, and just their outlook on a situation can really determine getting past it, or if it becomes a roadblock. Right. And you never want a roadblock, but it's funny how sometimes some people keep setting up the roadblocks, and they don't realize that, it's not their skill set that's going to get them past that. It's, can you be a nice person? Are you willing to help somebody? Would you, go out of your way to, I don't know. I always think that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a lot of, you hear guys talk about this all the time. It's the intangibles. Mm-hmm. It's not your skill. Like you said, so many people are good in any profession. Obviously, to get to a certain level, you get to a point, and, the level of skill is quite even, I would say.
Yeah, well, the bar is the bar. Yeah.
The bar
everybody can play. I always look at it like everybody can play.
Right. It's the
so you're all in the mix.
Intangibles that, like you said, provide you those other opportunities, and yeah, I mean, that's the simple things, I would say, or at least it seems like it could be. That's being a good person, that's showing up, that's not being selfish, that's being a team player, that's being team first, band first, company first, whatever it is. It's a selfless attitude, and there's so many, so many of the greats in many professions are that way. It seems like such a simple thing, but it obviously isn't, because there's a lot of people that don't have that figured out.
No, not at all. And I'd imagine a guy like the Crosby, chat we were having, I'd imagine, like, he's just close to 600 goals, but if one of the young guys on the team had a bad game and was feeling terrible about something, I'm sure he'd be the first guy to go chat with them and sit him down and, like, talk to him,
or work with them, right?
Exactly,
or
figure it
work
out,
through
right?
it with them.
Yeah.
And that's that's the definition of leadership, and that's something that I try. It's a work in progress with anyone. I know I find myself some days where it's like it can be difficult to put a smile on and bring that positive attitude, and that energy. But it's those that are able to harness that and bring it, even though they're not having their best whatever it is performance.
Right.
That make them great. It kind of reminds me of Kobe Bryant, obviously all-time great. He I think it was I can't remember what year it was. Anyways, they're playing in the finals. I think it was Game 7. I want to say it was like 2015 maybe. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. Anyways, in the game, the story goes, he wasn't having a great performance by his standards as far as shooting and providing offense. But he figured that out quickly in the game and realized, well, I can't bring that tonight. So what am I going to do? I'm going to out rebound everybody. I'm going to play the best defensive game of my season and ultimately inspired his teammates and dragged them into the fight with just his relentless work ethic and they ultimately ended up winning. But that's just an example of someone finding a way to contribute and bringing that work ethic and resilience to overcome that and I think that all starts with your attitude towards the game and obviously your team as well. But
yeah, absolutely. Well, and I love the idea of like a lead. I think in my mind, a true leader is someone who will get in there and do the dirty work.
Yeah, I've always thought that too.
Yeah.
Like
the best boss would be the guy to go right on the front line and do it. And everybody should step up and go, wait a minute, why is he up there? We should be up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like lead by example. I always think that's the best way. Some people need to be told and explained to and everything. I'm just like, no, I grew up, my dad, my uncles, whatever, I'd be left in the dust if I didn't just follow and you pay attention and you have to. Like it's just the world goes by quickly if you don't pay attention to what goes on and know your next move, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think back to all the bosses that I've had. Mind you, my professional career is pretty young, I would say, in comparison to others. But yeah, the best bosses that I've had are those that lead by example. And I understand that in every profession that's not exactly possible, but it's those that you see working alongside you rather than in front of you that are the best and create the best culture within a team environment. And that's such a huge thing too, when you're talking about, team success. It's, getting everyone on the same page and all pushing towards the same goal. It's funny, actually, we were around Christmas time. It's one of our favorite, I don't know, it's kind of a tradition, I guess, but Jess and I love this movie. It's Miracle.
Yes.
The movie.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. That movie is
obviously
crazy.
Didn't grow up in that time when that was happening. If you haven't seen it yet, obviously I would recommend it. Go watch it.
I was like, what year did that happen? 81? 81? I was like Coop's age.
Yeah.
When that all went down at Lake Placid.
Yeah, 1980. Yeah. So yeah, it's incredible movie. Incredible story. I think from what I've gathered, obviously I didn't watch it as it was occurring, but the actors and the producers and directors did such an amazing job with the film, and really portrayed the characters well. And the character of Herb Brooks, played by Kurt Russell. Yeah. This is one that always sticks with me, and me and my buddies kind of recite the lines. Again when they're skating the lines and blowing the whistle, and he just absolutely bag skates them. But that is it's such a cool insight to see how a team is formed or can be formed, because in that film, in this scenario, Herb Brooks, he didn't necessarily take all the best players, like you were saying, all the most highly skilled players. He wanted the right players, and that's a famous quote from the film. And throughout the film, it shows the growing pains that the team goes through, because they're all these college kids at the time coming together to play for Team USA. And he gets them together in a short period of time, all pushing toward the same goal. And the most famous quote probably, it's funny because Grandma, your mom, used to say this all the time, and I remember her telling me how much she loved it. Is the quote of the name on the front of the jersey is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back.
Yeah.
And that, when I first heard that, I think I was like, 11 or 12 years old. And I'm like, wow, that makes so much sense. Like you're playing for your team, and the one scene in there when they're all skating and he won't, he just keeps saying again and again until finally the one guy pipes up and he says, I can't remember who it was. He says, I'm so-and-so, I play for Team USA. And before, when they had done the introductions, all the players were saying, I'm so-and-so, I play for University of Minnesota or whatever it was. So once he heard that, that was a turning point in the film and their story where they kind of all became a family. And there's another scene where Herb Brooks tries to bring another player in after most of the team is formed and they're getting down to the final cuts, and the leaders on the team actually go to Herb Brooks. He's like, what are you doing? Like, you can't bring another guy in. We've grinded so hard together. Like, we're a family now. You can't bring another guy in. And I think he probably did that just to,
see him respond.
Yeah, see him respond.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, I mean,
see how much they care.
Yeah. I'm kind of rambling about it, but it's such a great film, and it's such a great example of leadership and getting the guys to buy in, and it can be relevant in a lot of different aspects of life, I think.
Yeah. Absolutely it can.
So, yeah, I mean, the story goes, ultimately, Team USA, which was made up of college players at the time, no professionals were playing in the Olympics. They were set to face the Soviet Union in the gold medal game, and the Soviets had won 4 consecutive Olympic gold medals, and they had outscored their opponents 175-44 in the previous 5 Olympic games. And the U.S. actually played the Soviets in an exhibition game before the tournament, and they lost 10-3. So going into that game, I mean, the odds were certainly not in Team USA's favor, but they had gone through so much together as a team, and Herb Brooks knew, this team obviously doesn't match up talent-wise to the Soviets, but he was trying to bring that intangible, which was that attitude. Yeah. And he thought if he could do that, they could get the job done, and they ultimately did. So it's such a, David versus Goliath story. One that is pretty historic in the sports world. And again, if you haven't seen the film, I'd highly recommend you go check it out. But just again, another example of what attitude means to a team.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, when you see that the final game, against the Soviets against the team, you can really see the Soviet team is all skill, just pure skill, pure no emotion at all, just pure skill. And the US team was a lot of skill, but man, the grit and the heart there. But it was their attitude, picking each other up, and no one wanted to disappoint each other and let each other down. And everybody wanted to work harder than the next guy, and they just pushed each other. And I just remember the scene after that final game when Herb Brooks was in the hallway. It was just like, it was crushing. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Cause that, that's it right there. Like he just, the whole thing just kind of came to a head, and it was just like, man. And it wasn't even about getting the job done. It was like he changed these people's lives and showed the sports world, but showed people that a coach like that's the power of doing that, is you get everybody to buy in, you change their attitude about how they approach this, and no one player won that game. It's crazy. It was a complete team effort. And yeah, I know there's a lot to unpack in that movie for sure. Yeah. And not just from the hockey fan is the one watching it. The people that take the lessons away are, everyday people that, that can just relate, and everybody can relate to all the lessons in that.
Yeah. And
it's incredible.
I think one of the biggest lessons, just to kind of summarize my take on it all, is, the belief, having that belief in yourself and the people around you, that just instills so much confidence in the group, and you can accomplish far more than you ever thought possible if you have that belief in yourself, and then of course in a team atmosphere, believing in those around you, and much the same for music. I mean,
oh, absolutely,
it's you're not up there by yourself. If everyone was playing, individually, it just would not sound. It would be robotic. It would not flow. It would not be a good product. So
yeah. And I think that's what I like about the drums. I think that's, the more I think about why, this instrument sort of picked me to play it and everything, which again, we'll get into that down the road. But I love that because you need others to play drums. It's music, but it's not like you need others. And I love working on a team. I love that. And I think this instrument is just exemplifies you need others to make this instrument sound good. And if you surround yourself with others that are like-minded, this instrument can sound great. And, that's what I love. I've always loved that. I've always loved collaborating on things like this. I could have, we both could have done a podcast on our own, but it's way more fun to work with someone because it's I don't know. It's just the way I'm wired, I think.
Yeah. It just opens your mind up
absolutely
to different ideas and different ways of doing things. And music, especially. I know when I, was playing drums there, practicing. I could never figure out. I'm like, I don't understand why this sounds so bad. I'd record myself and just playing the drums, and it's like, well, you're like a quarter of the
drums
of the whole pie here. It's not gonna sound amazing if it's just the drums. So,
exactly, it's just noise. It's just noise on its own.
Well, you make them sound amazing.
Oh no, it's just noise on its own. That's the whole idea.
Yeah,
that's the whole idea. No, but the attitude thing is so important, and I think that at any age, that's an important thing to sort of understand and just sort of reflect on. Things that have happened in your life or things that may happen in your life, and just kind of understanding that, the control of that, like you said, is from within. And, if that can go along with the skill set, the sky really and truly is the limit.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
There's luck involved, but, you just sort of lay all the cards out there and, it'll take you where you want to go.
Yeah, no, exactly. And now being, going back to being a father, it definitely feels like now that we've added, a third wolf to the wolf pack. Mind you, we have 2 dogs, so we kind of already were a wolf pack, but we are a team. And I know right now it's, mom's at home all day with baby and I'm at work, and then I come home and I need to make sure that my attitude is correct getting into the door, because it affects everyone. I can't go in there, and I hope that I can continue to do this, and I plan to. Obviously, days are going to be tough, but bringing that, positive attitude and, willingness to collaborate, to work, to take care of one another. And it's just become so much more evident to me lately that it is such an important piece to the puzzle, because I'm not there all day or whatever, and it is my role as a father to be, somewhat of a leader, I would say, and attitude is such a big part of that. So it's something I hope to continue to develop in kind of all aspects of my life, professionally, and then obviously family life as well. So yeah, it's huge, man. It's I was so glad when you wanted to chat about this, because it's something that was resonating with me a lot, especially lately.
Absolutely. Well, and it kind of goes hand in hand with the mental health conversation. There's a lot of like avenues that cross and all that, right? And it's again, just paying attention to how you're feeling and all that stuff. But yeah, you just I don't know, every day, just can you go to bed every night looking back on your day and go, man, did I do my best?
Yeah, and if you didn't, what can you kind of adapt and change for tomorrow,
for the next day? Exactly. You get another shot at it.
That's right.
We keep going. Hopefully we keep rolling along, and all of us are in this together. That's the whole idea, is as we travel through this whole thing, whether we're at the hockey rink in Moose Jaw, whether we're out shoveling, whether we're whatever, we're all traveling on the same ball here. So we got to help each other.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's just the way it works.
Life's a tricky journey. It's beautiful and can be cruel all the same. And yeah, I mean, I know there's so many people going through a lot of stuff right now, and always will be. And you know, we're hoping that we can at least give you a little bit of insight into kind of how we operate, and maybe there's some relevance in your own life. And yeah, man, it's a tricky thing, but it's a beautiful thing. And yeah, attitude is truly everything.
Yeah, it's your altitude.
That's what I hear.
It is so.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
I think.
Did we touch it all?
I think
we
so.
did, eh? I think we did. You're going to get a fridge that works.
I can't wait to have the fridge back.
I'm going to go walking on this walking pad.
You know what? I mentioned last week about how I wasn't too mad about the laundry machine being the washing machine being downstairs, and I think I might have jinxed myself because now the laundry machine and the fridge are downstairs, and lot of flights climbed. But you know, that's how we're staying active when it's
that's why you don't have to spend the money on one of those things
when there's 25 centimeters of snow on the way. So we'll
exactly
we'll chalk it up as a win anyways, and hopefully we'll get a fridge going next week.
We're going to check in with you and see.
Absolutely.
Awesome, buddy. Thanks again.
Yeah, thanks, Dad. It's been a pleasure as always, and thank you all for listening. Stay warm if it's chilly where you're at. I know it sure is where we're at. So let's enjoy each other's company and maybe some football and some hockey or some new music or maybe a good book. It's a good week, good month to spend indoors anyways. So take care, everyone. We'll catch you next time.